Welcome to Lesson 8, Strategies of Leading Companies. In this chapter, we will be dealing with the hardcore, real and applied strategies of a particular company. All the things that we have studied about the types and the levels of strategy, we'll study it in line or in focus with a particular company. But before we do that, let's have a look at the strategic management policy and the various amendments it has gone through post-independence. The post-independence period with respect to industrial policy can be divided into three periods. From 1947 to 1980 being the first era, which was basically controlled by the government. The business strategies were constrained, controlled and protected by the government. So government has the whole sole control on the industries. In 1990 came liberalization era. The new industrial policy, which was framed in 1990, came into effect from 1991 and it was known as the New Industrial Policy, commonly as LPG. LPG standing for liberalization, privatization and globalization. So a lot of things became free, became loose, became unrestricted. The companies were now supposed to, or they had the rights to go ahead and start their business without much of government intervention. The licensing policy was released to a great extent. Then came the third era, which was 2000s, wherein a lot of FDIs, foreign direct investments and MNCs were encouraged. With this happening, globalization took its true course. So this is about how the management policy in our country has gone through variations, right from having a complete control in the hands of the government, coming into liberalization where a partial role is played by the government. Today we have a complete private sector also. We'll deal with one of the companies in the private sectors, one of the leading companies of private sector in this presentation. So this presentation will take you through the various strategies applied and functional in the Tata group of companies. Let's have a look at the introduction or the history of Tata group. It was started by Jamshedji in the year 1868. At present, it has 98 companies, 27 listed entities, more than 3 lakh employees working and having its operations in 80 plus countries. If you talk about strategies existing in this company, we have nurturing human capital, acquisitions and diversifications of business, geographical locations and services. We'll deal with this in detail. Let's have a look at the human capital. When we talk about human capital, the company shows its concerns and welfare of the employees. They want to take care of their employees and therefore Tata group of companies came with the strategy of having an 8-hour work-day schedule. So it's scheduled that the employees working in the company should not be overburdened with extra timings and all. They should have a fixed schedule to work on. Second thing, they introduced various components of providing various facilities to the employees in the form of free medical aid and free schooling for their children. In 1920, an investment option came in for the welfare of the employees, for the financial benefit and the aid of the employees, which was paid leave and PF. So there was a list of certain number of leaves which the employees were supposed to take in a particular year and they were paid for that. Their salary wasn't deducted for this. And the PF system, which is Provident Fund, was introduced. So these are the few little things which the company has initiated for the welfare of the employees. Talking about acquisitions, there have been a large number of acquisitions, but to jot down a few over here, it's JLR from Ford. These acquisitions are happening through mergers, joint ventures, and taking overs. So it took up Chorus, which is a US steel maker, Daewoo Trucks, which is Chinese truck makers, Tetley Tea, and Himalayan mineral water. So this is one of the way in which Tata Group has been expanding itself. Yet another way of expansion has been diversification. It entered into hospitality industry by introducing Taj Group of hotels, which are luxury hotels, in the year 1903. In 1907, it started its Tata Steel business, which was Asia's first steel business. 1932, it ventured into airlines. 1968, it came up with software information technology through Tata Consultancy Services, TCS. 1998, we have Tata Indica, the first indigenous car made by them, whereas Tata Nano came off recently, which is the cheapest four-wheeler available in the country. So this Tata Indica and Tata Nano are an example of product diversifications, whereas the others are an example of business diversifications, where the company is going into different lines of businesses, not related with each other. This is how business diversification is. Tata Product has a robust presence in the engineering industry through its automobile parts and automobile components. It has a widespread leadership into service providing, into hospitality, insurance, realty, and other finance-related services. It is a leading producer of materials like steel and its composites. It is a significant player in energy sector, power generation, oil and natural gas segment as well. It has a long and widespread market for watches and jewelries and is entering into the retail market of consumer goods as well. And it's the major producer for soda, ash soda, which acts like a fertilizer, and various other chemicals are being produced by Tata. So this is how different lines of business of Tatas are in place today. Now we've been talking about diversification. What diversification is, let us have a look at this definition. It is a process of distinguishing your product. Distinguishing your product by creating certain characteristic features in it which are distinct, apart and unique from all the other products present in the business, in the market, in the company, in the area, market area, or distinguishing its product from its own other existing products. So this is what is diversification. So you are trying to make a product which is unique in itself. If you talk about within your family, unique with other products existing in your family. If you talk about the market, unique with all the other products existing in the market. And yes, it will act as a substitute, which low price strategy can attract other customers as well. So it is a process of distinguishing a product or service from others to make it more attractive to a particular target market. This involves differentiating it from competitors' product as well as a firm's own product. There are two types of diversifications. Concentric, which is related diversification. In case if we talk about companies like Amul, it's into butter, it's into milk, it's into cheese, it's into curd, it's into ice creams. So all the milk products are there. So the raw material is connected and all the other products are also connected with one another. That's what is related diversification. The other being conglomerate diversification, which is Tata Group into. It's unrelated. We've talked about so many businesses or lines of business in which Tata Group is. That kind of a diversification is known as a conglomerate diversification, which is unrelated. The products are unrelated to each other. Conglomerate diversification is said to create synergy. Now what is synergy? We need to understand the meaning of synergy. The word synergy can easily be substituted for dynamism. Dynamism is motion, mobility, a lot of happening. To explain the word concept of synergy with the help of example, if I say that there are 6 people in a group in which 2 are very active and 4 are quite lethargic, any one can influence the other. The lethargic ones can influence the active ones and we can have a slowdown in the work process happening in that group. Or maybe the 2 people who are active influence the other 4 and we have a lot of activity happening in the group. In the latter case, we say that synergy has been created. Because yes, 2 people working out of 6 in a group and 6 people working out of 6 in a group. The other one is having more dynamism within a group. So that is what synergy means. And obviously, having a set of lines of businesses which are unrelated breaks the monotony that comes in, and yes, obviously it creates the economies of scale. It helps a company to earn the economies of large scale production by sharing of resources. That is the best part of synergy, and Tata Group has been successfully following our synergy, achieving synergy. We've been talking about levels of strategies in various chapters. We've talked about this in almost 2 chapters earlier. But now in this chapter, we'll be just giving you an introduction, reminder, recapitulation of what various levels of strategies are. But more focus will be on the real life strategies at various levels of this particular group of companies. We talk about corporate level strategy first. Corporate level strategy talks about what the business what business should the corporation take up, and how the head office or the main office of the business manage and handle the array of business units. If it's into conglomerate, even if it is not into conglomerate, even for concentric, it needs to handle the various business units. Let's have a look at the corporate level strategy of Tata Group, which is the growth strategy basically. We have 2 guiding arrows. It says One points overseas, where we have to expand market for our existing products. So they want to expand their products in overseas market. The other points to India, where we have to explore the emerging mass market, not by mere following, but by doing something which has never been done before. So what over here they mean to say is that they are targeting in two markets. One is overseas, where their existing products would expand, get into or penetrate, and other is the existing market of within India, where yes, existing products will be marketed. Along with it, they want to create some kind of distinction and come up with new products as well. So let's have a look at the examples of the innovations made at Tata. They came out with Tata Safari as the first sports utility vehicle in 1988. They came up with Indica in 1998, which was the first fully indigenous car, completely made in India. They came up with Tata Nano 2008, which was the cheapest four-wheeler available. And let's look at the business level strategies. The business level strategies basically talk about an integrated and coordinated set of commitments and actions the firm uses to gain competitive advantage in exploiting core competencies in specific product markets. So it's basically a set of activities which company would try to formulate and try to go ahead and enact to gain competitive advantage in the market. So this was talk about a particular business. In determining a business level strategy, the firm determines who will it serve, what are the needs of that target market, and how those needs of the target market will be met. Let's have a look at the business level strategy of Tata Group of Companies, the product being Tata Tea. The strategy says having a low cost global delivery 24/7. 24/7, I hope you understand. Everywhere and every minute, availability of Tata Tea products at lower cost. Focus on customer relationship and customer retention. Reorganizing of 20 tea estates in clusters of 5. Identifying branded tea as its thrust area there. Moving from there to functional level strategies, which talk about a particular business also and particular product also, or maybe a particular function. It can be cost, it can be HR, it can be accounting, it can be marketing or research. Let's have a look at the various examples of functional level strategies at Tata. These strategies are basically focused at acquiring low cost leadership. Acquiring Chorus Steel, as discussed in the previous slide, where I was talking about the various acquisitions which Tata Group has taken over. We talked about Chorus Steel, which it took over from the UK steel maker. This was taken over to make or to acquire the raw material on your own, like if you go ahead and purchase raw materials, you have to give a part of margin of profit to the retail raw material provider. When you own the raw materials, you save on those profit margins. That is what their intention was, to save on those profit margins, keep their costs low, and therefore price their products at a little lower prices in the market. Acquiring Chorus Steel to own the raw materials for cars like Jaguar and Land Rover. Majority plants situated in India for the availability of low cost labor. We all know that India is a labor intensive country, so labor intensive production is very cheap in India. The advantage of which has been taken by the Tata Group, though it is present in various countries, but yes, its products are manufactured in India because it gets labor cheap of cost. The next one being low-key designing for some emerging products to maintain an excellent price-quality ratio. So that was about the functional level strategy of Tata. This is what we can give you as an example of the various levels of strategies which we have discussed. So this presentation has been talking about the real life scenario with respect to strategy that we have studied throughout in our course. That's all for this chapter. Thank you.